Huh? हेलो, ये बैटरी चेंज किया था।
इधर So in the last class, we talked about the Stone Age culture, then use of the copper, and then people started mixing tin into copper to make it the bronze. So first Bronze Age civilizations, also called as Indus Valley Civilization, beginning was from around 2600 BC and which continued up to about 1900 BCE. So this is our oldest civilization of India, also called as Bronze Age civilization, and because it was believed to be situated near River Indus, so also called Indus Valley civilization. Take care. And for the first time, people in India started living into towns and cities, so also called as first urbanization, a term used by historian Gordon Child. So first urbanization, Indus Valley civilization, Harappan civilization, Bronze Age civilization, all are same. So now come to what was the civilization, how the civilization arose, and how the civilization survived for centuries. This is river Indus. River Indus. ठीक है? River Indus. In 1921, year 1921 is very important because in 1921, a city was found called city of Harappa. Harappa is now in Pakistan. So this city of Harappa was found by chance, by accident in 1921. Then this city was excavated by archaeologist D.R. Sahni, Dayaram Sahni. So D.R. Sahni was archaeologist who excavated city of Harappa in 1921. A big town was found. Houses were built of the burnt bricks with well-developed urbanization, very well developed towns and cities, very well developed architecture, town plannings and all. So we come to know about this civilization in 1921. So from 1921 we come to know about this civilization, first urban civilization of India. I will make the class very slow, comfortable to all of you. Because last class was relatively fast, right? Fast था कल का class, ठीक है? So 1921 is clear. Next year in 1922, another city was found, and this city was city of Mohenjo-daro on the bank of river Indus. So both Mohenjo-daro and Harappa is now in Pakistan. Mohenjo-daro. So 1922, Mohenjo-daro was excavated by archaeologist R.D. Banerjee. R.D. Banerjee, archaeologist who excavated the city of Mohenjo-daro in 1922. Clear? So there was now no any confusion. But around this area, people were now living into cities and towns. And this is the reason why in 1924, 2 years later, a public announcement by Archaeological Survey of India that one of the oldest civilizations of the world and oldest in India was found, and this was named as Indus Valley Civilization. And this announcement was by head of ASI during the time, John Marshall. So John Marshall is the discoverer of this civilization. Public announcement by John Marshall, who was the chief of Archaeological Survey of India during the time. So now announced that in India we found oldest civilizations of India and one of the oldest of the world. Clear? ठीक है? So this is a story up to 1924. A story up to 1924. So first finding was Harappa, 1921. So from 1921 up to 1947 till independence, many more cities were found around these areas, Indus and tributary areas. ठीक है? In 1947, India got independence with division of the country into two countries, India and Pakistan. So most of the sites went to Pakistan. So after 1947, archaeologists of India pressurized the government of India to do the excavations, to do the research in this area, because in this area also believed to be there were cities. So after 1947 till present, many more cities were found and many were excavated, more than 1000 cities till present. After 1947, many more cities were found, some excavated, most of them still unexcavated. Clear? It was noted that this civilization was not only located around Indus and tributaries, far away from Indus and tributaries. Like, for example, westernmost city of this civilization, extreme west, was in extreme west Pakistan, close to Iran. Here we have Persia. Persia is now called as Iran. So near eastern Iran, in West Pakistan, westernmost city was found, and this city was city of Sutkajenda. So city of Sutkajenda, westernmost city of this civilization. West of Sutkajenda, we have other civilizations. We'll come to those civilizations as well, and how Indians had contact with those civilizations. Just coming. Okay? So Sutkajenda was the westernmost outpost of this civilization. And this Sutkajenda was situated on the bank of a very small river Dust. Rivers are very, very important. They may be asking the name of the rivers on the bank of which these cities were situated. So on the bank of river Dust. Dust river is in Pakistan, western Pakistan. Sutkajenda, westernmost city was located. Clear? Easternmost city of this civilization was in western Uttar Pradesh, near Meerut, UP, Alamgirpur. So Alamgirpur in India, in West Uttar Pradesh, UP, near city of Meerut, Alamgirpur, easternmost city of this civilization. So between west to east, there were many more cities. East of Alamgirpur, there were no cities. People were living into village. Still, people were living into Neolithic Age and Chalcolithic Age. Clear? Eastern boundary is clear. Northernmost city of this civilization was in Jammu and Kashmir, city of Manda. Manda in Jammu and Kashmir, also the city of the civilization, and this city was the northernmost city of this civilization. And this Manda was situated on the bank of which river? Rivers are important. River Chenab. Chenab is one of the 5 tributaries of river Indus. So on the bank of Chenab, city of Manda. Manda in Jammu and Kashmir. ठीक है. Southernmost city of the civilization. Extreme south, city of Malwan in South Gujarat. Malwan, southernmost city of the civilization. It was not Damabad. In many of the books we have information that Damabad in Maharashtra was the southernmost city, but Damabad was actually a Chalcolithic site, and the Harappans had contact with Damabad. So southern outpost was this Malwan. So from Malwan to Manda, Alamgirpur to this Sutka gender is the spirit of the civilization. Spirit of the civilization. ठीक है. So total area of the civilization estimated to be around. Factual questions also important for your exam. For IS exam also they are asking factual questions, but IS exam most of the questions are conceptual questions mixed with factual questions. But they are mostly factual questions. ठीक है. So total area of the civilization. How much area? nearly about 1 million square kilometer, or precisely 0.7 million square kilometer, total area of the civilization. ठीक है? So this is the total area of the civilization. I mean, this civilization was in all Pakistan, all over Pakistan, fringe of Jammu Kashmir, Punjab, Indian Punjab as well, Haryana as well, Rajasthan as well, Gujarat as well. So this was the spread of the civilization in these areas. In India, Gujarat, Rajasthan, Haryana, Punjab, fringes of Jammu Kashmir, a very small area of Jammu Kashmir, whole of Pakistan, a spread of this civilization. People for the first time living into cities and towns. And in the cities and towns, houses were built of burnt bricks for the first time. So first use of burnt bricks in India, burnt bricks from 2600 BCE onwards. Houses were mainly built of burnt bricks in some of the areas. In place of the burnt bricks, stones also used. Both stones and burnt bricks used. In some of the areas, stones were preferred. Like, now come to cities. Like for example, in Gujarat, in Gujarat, in Gujarat, one of the cities, was Dholavira. Dholavira in Gujarat, one of the cities of the civilization. Okay? And this Dholavira was situated around Run of Kutch in Gujarat. Run of Kutch. Part of Run of Kutch is in India, and part of Run of Kutch is in Pakistan. Run of Kutch is the marshy land. In this marshy land, Dholavira, in Run of Kutch of Gujarat, was situated. ठीक है? So in Dholavira, houses were mainly built of stones. And Dholavira is one of the cities of this civilization declared by UNESCO as World Heritage City. ठीक है? UNESCO declared two cities of the civilization as World Heritage City. One Dholavira in India, other only two cities of the civilizations are UNESCO World Heritage Cities. Dholavira in India, other in Pakistan, Mohenjo-daro. So only two cities of the civilization, World Heritage City of UNESCO. Mohenjo-daro in Pakistan and Dholavira in India. Only two cities. World Heritage Cities. Because these cities were very peculiar. During those times, nearly 5,000 years back, nearly 5,000 years back, nearly. Okay? So why Dholavira was important? Because in Dholavira, a very important, a very efficient water conservation structure have been found. How to conserve the water, monsoon water, for use during lean seasons. So Dholavira, because of unique water conservation structure. In Dholavira, we have the river, monsoon river, Manhar. So around river Manhar, Dholavira was located. And this Manhar was the monsoon fed river. So during monsoon days, in Manhar, we have plenty of the waters. So this water was diverted, passed through many structures, so that sediment could settle down, and final water was used for drinking water purposes. So on account of very efficient water conservation technology in the Dholavira, UNESCO declared this is the World Heritage City. And why Mohenjo-daro? Because Mohenjo-daro was one of the largest, earliest urban settlement of the world. So Mohenjo-daro because of a very large urban settlement of the time. Dholavira is because of a very efficient water conservation method. ठीक है? Clear all of you? So firstly come to important cities and their features. Then we will come and discuss about various other features of the civilization. ठीक है? So in Gujarat we have Dholavira is clear. In Gujarat we have Dholavira. In Gujarat we have other city, very important city, coastal city is Lothal. Around Gulf of Khambat, Lothal was the city in Gujarat. And why Lothal is important? In Gujarat, two important cities, Dholavira in Run of Kutch and Lothal around Gulf of Khambat, Lothal, and from Lothal, Archaeological Survey of India have found a dockyard for anchoring of the ships, port city. Lothal was the port city. In port we have anchoring of the ships as well. So this ship was used for trade with other countries of the world like Persian Gulf area and West Asia. So Lothal was the only city from which the people of the civilization had trading contact with Persian Gulf area. In Persian Gulf here we have Oman. Presently we have Oman here. Oman in Persian Gulf. Here in Persian Gulf we have a small country, Bahrain. Bahrain in Persian Gulf. Oman in Persian Gulf. Here we have Iraq in West Asia, Iraq. So in Iraq we have civilization called Mesopotamia civilization. Mesopotamia civilization of Iraq. Clear? So these Indians had trading contact with Oman, trading contact with Bahrain, and trading contact with Mesopotamia. Clear? So Mesopotamia is the almost contemporary civilization, same timing, which was in Iraq. In India we have Indus Valley Civilization. Okay? How we come to know about these Indians had contact with Mesopotamia? The reason is these Mesopotamians had their own writing literature. Indians had their own writing literature. So for the first time in India, people have started writings. We'll come to writings. For the first time in Iraq, in Mesopotamia, people were writing as well. So Mesopotamia writing is now deciphered. Indus Valley Civilization writing is still undeciphered. Cannot be read till date. Undeciphered. पढ़ा नहीं गया उसको. So in the writing of Mesopotamia, we have the reference that ships from Meluha was the name given by Iraqians to India. So Meluha was oldest name given to India by Mesopotamians. Meluha. So ships from Meluha via Oman, then Bahrain comes to Mesopotamia for export import. So this is one of the grounds on which we can conclude that Indians had contact with Mesopotamia, Iraq and Oman. ठीक है, क्लियर है? समझ में ठीक है सबको? And for this trade purpose, they had built the dockyard in Lothal. Dockyard in Lothal. So use of dockyard in Lothal was to do trade with Mesopotamia, Oman and Bahrain. So Indians had trading contact with Persian Gulf countries, West Asia, Mesopotamia. Indians also had contact with oldest civilization of Persia or Iran, that is Helmand. Helmand was civilization in Persia or Iran, here Afghanistan, here Central Asia. Indians had contact with Central Asia as well, Afghanistan as well, Persia as well. In Persia or Iran, civilization was Helmand civilization. But this contact was overland. This contact was overland. Central Asia contact was overland. But this contact between India and Oman, India Bahrain, India Mesopotamia was through sea. Sea trade. But for the first time in India, we have international trade. And for the first time in India, we have sea trade, both. For the first time in India, we have overseas trade. For the first time in India, we have international trade as well. Before Indus Valley Civilization, no evidence of international trade. Trade was local trade, barter trade. ठीक है, क्लियर है? From Afghanistan, the Indians imported two very important items. Number one is lapis lazuli. Lapis lazuli used by Indus Valley Civilization people of India, and this lapis lazuli comes from Afghanistan. Lapis lazuli is the stone, and this stone was very colorful stone used for ornament purpose, beads. Which color lapis lazuli? Which color? कौन से कलर का होता है? Blue color. So lapis lazuli, a very colorful blue stone used by people in the form of beads, and these beads were ornaments. So lapis lazuli comes from Afghanistan. Besides lapis lazuli, silver also comes from Afghanistan. Silver comes from Afghanistan, and first evidence of use of silver during this time. Before Indus Valley Civilization, no any evidence of use of silver in it. So Harappans, this civilization also called as Harappan civilization. एक ही है. Indus Valley Civilization, also called as Harappan civilization, because the cities were located not only around Indus, far away from Indus. But why Harappan civilization? Because Harappa was the first city by which we come to know about this civilization. So Indus Valley civilization, also called as Harappan civilization. So Harappans were the first in India to use silver, and silver comes from Afghanistan. ठीक है, clear? Next. They also had contact with Central Asia. Also had contact with Helmand civilization. So in these areas, Indian traders had to go. So for their convenience, an outpost was built in Afghanistan by Indians. This outpost, a form of the city, extended city of the civilization, in order to make the Indian traders to have convenience there for trade purpose. So this site is very important, which was Indus site, Indus Valley Civilization place, but in Afghanistan. And this place was Sortugai. So Sortugai was first Indian diaspora in Afghanistan. And why this was built by Indus Valley Civilization? In order to in order to make the Indian traders to have convenience in trade with Afghanistan and Central Asia. So Sortagai in Afghanistan, which was Indus Valley Civilization outpost, a site. ठीक है, जैसे सेंट्रल एशिया है, यहाँ पे एक रिवर है ऑक्सस रिवर, जो कि अफगानिस्तान में भी आता है, और इसका ट्रिब्यूटरी है रिवर कोक्चा. सो रिवर कोक्चा, tributary of Oxus. Around river Kokcha we had Surtagai. So Surtagai was Indian outpost around river Kokcha, and river Kokcha was a tributary of river Oxus. ठीक है, डायस्पोरा का मतलब क्या होता है? What is the meaning of diaspora? Suppose, for example, many Indians are now living in America. So that place of America, where in substantial Indians are living in the diaspora. तो पहला डायस्पोरा वर्ल्ड का इंडिया का जो कि अफगानिस्तान में था. And this diaspora was Sortegai. Indian traders were living there, doing trade with Afghanistan, trade with Central Asia as well. ठीक है, so oldest Indian diaspora was Sortegai in Afghanistan. Clear? ठीक है, क्लास तो समझ में आता है सबको? क्लियर है या नहीं? बिकॉज आई कैन रीड योर फेस. तो थोड़ा सा देखो, योर क्वेश्चन शैल बी वेरी सिंपल क्वेश्चन. इसका मतलब नहीं होगा बहुत सिंपल क्वेश्चन होगा, टफ क्वेश्चन होगा ही नहीं होगा, टफ क्वेश्चन भी होगा. ठीक है, so this is clear. How they do the trade? How they do the trade? Trade was through barter system plus use of the sales. Use of sales. There were no use of the coin. Coin was absent during the time. Oldest coins of India found by ASI, that is 500 BC old, means very late coins started. Before 500 BC, there was no evidence of coinage in India, no coins. Oldest coins of India found by Archaeological Survey of India, and dating of the such coins goes back to 500 BCE. So before 500 BC, there were no coins in India. So during Indus Valley Civilization, coins was absent, no coinage. ठीक है, oldest coins of India 500 BC, and such coins are called as punch-marked coins. Punch-marked coins. And these coins were made of copper and then silver. Copper and silver both. Oldest coins of India is the punch-marked coins. And this coin came into circulation only from 500 BC onwards. बहुत बाद में, very late. But before 500 BC, no coins in India. So in place of the coins, Harappans were using seals. Seals had some value because these seals were made of a soft stone steatites. From almost all the cities, seals have been found. And some Indian seals have been found in Mesopotamia as well. And some seals of Oman, Bahrain, found in Lothal as well. It means seal was exchange medium because some foreign seals, that is called a Persian Gulf seal, found in which city? Lothal, port city. And some Indian seals have been found in Mesopotamia as well. It means seal was the medium of exchange. Clear? Seals were made of steatites. Maximum seals have been found from city of Mohenjo-daro. Maximum. Most of the seals. So on the seals of the civilization, we have the writings. The writings. Means for the first time in India, we have the writing began from this time onwards, writings. And these writings were on the seals. No writing on the paper. Paper was absent. Entire ancient India, paper being absent. No use of paper for writing. ठीक है? Entire ancient India, no writing on the paper. Paper came in India during Delhi Sultanate, medieval India, brought by Turks. Paper invented by Chinese. China say it came to Central Asia. The Central Asia से Turk came to India, it came to India. Means ancient India, writing was not on the paper. Writing, सबसे पहला writing on the seal, then writing on the copper plate, writing on a stone as well, but no writing on the paper. Clear है? So Harappans were the first to start writings, and most of writings on the seal. Most of writing on the seal. Besides seal, writing on the pottery as well. Pottery as well. From many cities, potteries have been found. Potteries. So which was the important distinguishing pottery of the civilization? Pottery important questions होता है. Questions are important regarding potteries. So Indus Valley Civilization, people using many potteries. Most popular pottery was BRW, black painting on red ware, red कलर का pottery. So black on red ware होते हैं, BRW, most important pottery of Indus Valley Civilization. On these pottery we have writings as well. On the seals we have the writings. On the copper we have the writing. So writing on the seal mostly. Besides the seal, writing on the pottery as well, writing on the copper as well. ठीक है? Writing on the copper as well. And most of writing on the copper found from city of Mohenjo-daro. Most of the writings on the copper found from city of Mohenjo-daro. And such writings are still undeciphered. Still undeciphered. Government of Tamil Nadu announced a big reward, big award. Whosoever decipher this writing, government of Tamil Nadu will give them $1 million cash prize. नदी अनाउंस हुआ है, कुछ पॉलिटिकल रीजन है उसका. ठीक है? Even the writing was undeciphered, what was the script and what was the language? The script and language and how they wrote. ठीक है. What was the script they used for writing purpose? For writing, you need to have the language and script both. So, what was the script used by people of this civilization for writings? क्या होता था? Script क्या था? We have two type of the scripts. One alphabetic, other is pictographic. Alphabet. Here we have number of alphabets. A, B, C, D and all. Alphabets होता है. And we can use alphabet for writing of the words. And writing of the words and language. Sentence as well. So most likely, a script was not alphabetic but pictographic. Harappans used the script most likely pictographic and not the alphabetic because alphabets are less than 50 in number, so that we can memorize all the alphabet and write the words. If alphabets are 500, 600, how we can memorize the 500 alphabets? Not possible. But pictures are in hundreds. Every picture has some meaning. Fish symbol, other symbols. So on Harappan since near about 400 different symbols have been identified. 400 about. So 400 cannot be alphabet. It means the script was pictographic and not the alphabetic script. ठीक है. 400 different साइंस मिला है, सिंबल मिला है ऑन हड़प्पन सेल्स. तो 400 cannot be alphabet. रोमन अल्फाबेट कितना होता है? 26. अगर 400 अल्फाबेट होगा, how can you memorize the alphabet in hundreds? Not possible. ठीक है. तो alphabetic was ruled out. Pictographic most likely. Clear? What was the language they used for writing purpose? Most likely it was not Indo-European, Proto-Dravidian language. And within Proto-Dravidian, most likely Brahui language. So writing was most likely a language, Brahui language. And this Brahui language is a part of Proto-Dravidian linguistic family. Okay? So language was most likely Brahui. Script was most likely pictographic. And very small writing. Usually one line writing. Usually one line writing. Writing was not into Sanskrit. Sanskrit ruled out. Because coming of Sanskrit into India associated with Aryans. And coming of Aryans was after decline of this civilization. So there was no use of Sanskrit. Use of precursor of Dravidian language, that is Brahui language. ठीक है? Clear है? Now how they wrote? Usually one line of writing, एक line का छोटा छोटा writing seal पे. Usually one line of writing. In this writing, on the right side we have margin is left. Margin. Right side. Left side no margin. It means writing was from right to left. Then left the margin. Start writing. Because in right side we have the margin. It means writing began from right to left. So writing was from right to left. Clear है? For longer writings. सबसे बड़ा writing कहाँ से मिला है? Writing with 26 different signs. Longest writing found from city of Dholavira. From city of Dhaulagira, Archaeological Survey of India found the longest writing with 26 different signs. So for writing the 5 lines, 6 lines even, they used a technique called Bustophagus technique. What is this technique? First line right to left, second line reverse direction left to right. Next again reverse. So this style of writing is called as Bustophagus writing. Evidence comes from Dhaulagira. Evidence comes from Dhaulagira. ठीक है क्लियर है So longest writing comes from Dhaulagira. Usually Harappan writings was one line of writing and most of writing on the seals. And such writings are still undeciphered writing. Still undeciphered. ठीक है So we are talking about the towns and cities, important towns and cities. So in Gujarat we talked about two important cities, Dhaulavira and Lothal. Two in Gujarat, Dhaulavira and Lothal. Next important city, Mohenjo-daro in Pakistan. Next important city is Mohenjo-daro in Pakistan. And that is the only city in Pakistan of this civilization declared by UNESCO as the World Heritage City. ठीक है So from Mohenjo-daro, which are important findings by Archaeological Survey of India? Important findings. Important है आपके लिए. Like क्या है? Great Bath. Great Bath. Evidence of Great Bath comes from Mohenjo-daro. What was Great Bath? Great Bath का नाम है बाथ का मतलब स्विमिंग पूल and very large swimming pool. This was a rectangular structure from the north side and south steps to come in the swimming pool to take the bath. ठीक है क्लियर है So 39 into 23 into 8 feet dimension of this structure. ठीक है Around this structure we have various rooms were built for changing of the cloth rooms. One corner we have devised to bring the water inside the pool. Other corner we have devised to pull out the water from this swimming pool so that this swimming pool could be hygiene. Changing of the water at regular interval. So this structure is called as Great Bath, comes from Mohenjo-daro. In order to prevent the seepage of the water in the floor of this structure, we have use of waterproofing material, bitumen. So first use of bitumen, waterproofing material on the floor of the Great Bath comes from Mohenjo-daro. ठीक है So this structure was called as Great Bath, comes from Mohenjo-daro. क्या purpose था इसका? We are not going into such controversy because in this civilization, temple was absent. No temple. So there is no question of taking the bath before temple worship into such great bath because no temple has been found. from this civilization, from any of the cities. No any temple has been found. So temple worship was absent. In India today we have the custom. If you go to temple for worship purpose, first you have to take the bath in the tank and then go to temple. So temple was absent. So no question of ritual bathing. ठीक है? There was no any question of ritual bathing because temple was absent. So one evidence is great bath comes from Mohenjo-daro or other important findings from Mohenjo-daro. और क्या मिला है मोहनजोदारो से प्री में ऐसा ही क्वेश्चन होगा सर दे वोंट बी आस्किंग डिस्कस फीचर्स ऑफ टाउन प्लानिंग कैसे टाउन होता था कैसा आर्किटेक्चर होता था दैट इज ओनली द प्री क्वेश्चन प्री के लिए एग्जाम है अदर फाइंडिंग्स फ्रॉम मोहनजोदारो लाइक एनीवन फ्रॉम मोहनजोदारो a bronze statue have been found called a dancing girl mohenjo-daro a bronze statue found from mohenjo-daro this statue have been found by archaeologist Make from mohenjo-daro very small statue bronze made of the bronze ठीक है the height of this bronze statue is very small 10.5 centimeter about the statue of a girl completely nude girl likely into dancing posture but this is very questionable because the head is straight how can with the straight head she was in dancing posture cannot be but this was called a dancing girl so known as dancing girl evidence comes from mohenjo-daro made of the bronze ठीक है and this statue was made to a technology called lost wax technology ये क्या होता है उतना नहीं काम करनी मतलब फर्स्ट एविडेंस ऑफ lost wax technique for making of a sculptural image comes from this civilization. Evidence is dancing girl. ठीक है so dancing girl is clear. Other statue again of a girl called ugly sister comes from Mohenjo-daro. So both from Mohenjo-daro. A statue of a beard man. A statue of a beard man made of a stone wrongly called as priest king. Also from Mohenjo-daro. So all from Mohenjo-daro. Clear? This is stone statue. Ugly sister bronze statue. This is bronze statue. After Mohenjo-daro, next important city was city of Harappa. City of Harappa. Harappa in Pakistan, Punjab. More than half of Punjab is in Pakistan. So Harappa in Punjab of Pakistan. Harappa in Pakistan. So from Harappa, a very unique findings is only evidence of coffin burial comes from Harappa. Harappan had the burial system, but burial was usually without coffin, without wooden coffin, only evidence of wooden coffin burial comes from Harappa. And this coffin burial was burial of a very young woman. And this was a custom of Mesopotamia. It is very likely that she was a Mesopotamian girl married to a Harappan husband. After the death, she was buried according to own fashion, own custom. So from Harappa we have coffin burial या cemetery H बोलते हैं CH cemetery H from Harappa. ठीक है. So two cities in Pakistan, Mohenjo-daro and Harappa. Mohenjo-daro and Harappa. Next, in Rajasthan, city of Kalibangan. Kalibangan in Rajasthan, around the river Ghaggar. River Ghaggar in Rajasthan. Around river Ghaggar, city was Kalibangan. City of Kalibangan in Rajasthan. From Kalibangan we have archaeological evidence of furrow field. बहुत important है ये. Evidence of furrow field comes from Kalibangan. Plough field, plough agriculture. So here we have north to south furrows, spacious furrows. East to west furrows are dense furrows. Means in one direction they raised one crop, other direction they raised other crop. Two crops on the same agricultural field. Why this is so? Because they may be raising two crops, one leguminous crop, other non-leguminous crop. So leguminous crop had the capacity to fix nitrogen from atmosphere to soil, and non-leguminous cannot do it. So this is to maintain the soil fertility. Means Harappans were acquainted with double cropping. Raising of two crops on the same agricultural field, evidence comes from Kalibangan. ठीक है. So furrow field या plough field, evidence comes from Kalibangan. ठीक है. So Kalibangan is clear. From Haryana, one is city of Banwali in Haryana. Banwali in Haryana, and most importantly, Rakhi Gari in Haryana. Two important cities from Haryana of this civilization, Rakhi Gari and Banwali. Rakhi Gari is very important because from Rakhi Gari we have evidence of double burial. One male along with the female woman buried together. Burial of male and female together. Only two cities from where we have such burial. One is Rakhi Gari, other is Lothal. Only from two cities. And death of both male and female same time. On the face of the female we have injury mark from Rakhi Gari. So his assumption is when the husband died, wife was killed and buried along with the husband to accompany the husband in other world. This custom later became Sati system. But only one skeleton has been found. So this was not the custom during the civilization. This may be exception and not the rule. because only one from Lothal and only one from Rakhigarhi found. First definite evidence of such a system in India comes from Iran edict, बहुत बाद में 6th century CE. Iran edict, a place in Madhya Pradesh, Iran, where we have the writing, edict is writing, and this is the first edict of India which talked about sati system in India. When the husband died, the widow have to burn themselves on the funeral pyre of dead husband. Custom is called as sati. So before 6th century, sati system is ruled out. So during Indus Valley Civilization, sati system was not the popular custom. This Rakhi Gari and Lothal could be exception and not the rule. Not. ठीक है. Rakhi Gari is clear. Banwali is clear. Both in Haryana. Now come to this was the civilization which arose in 2600 BC and continued up to 1900 BC. For centuries, this civilization continued. ठीक है. We talked about this was the first urban civilization of India. This was the first urban civilization of India. People living into towns and cities. ठीक है. And these cities and towns were planned towns. The first evidence of town planning comes from this civilization. Towns were planned and houses in the towns were built according to those rules and regulations. So first evidence of town planning comes from this civilization. Very unique town planning with bathing provisions, drainage system. This is the first time use of burnt bricks, and everywhere size of the bricks was uniform. Size of the bricks in Lothal, Mohenjo-daro, everywhere same size. Burnt bricks with the same size. Bricks with the same size. First evidence of burnt bricks with uniform size. Size of the bricks, for example, was 7.5 centimeter, 15 centimeter, 31 centimeter, means a 1 is to 2 is to 4 ratio. Size of the bricks. इसका कुछ यूज रहा होगा. For some unique architectures, the size of the bricks are important for some architectures. पहला बार यूज हुआ architecture. Indus Valley Civilization. Architecture, for example, English bond architecture. पहला बार यूज हुआ है. What was this architecture? Or what were the benefits of this architecture? उतना नहीं. English bond architecture, Flemish bond architecture, both were used for construction of houses. And in such architecture, this size is very, very helpful. This explains why across all the cities, size of the bricks was uniform. 1 is to 2 is to 4 ratio. ठीक है. So first evidence of urbanization with town planning, with international trade and commerce. International trade and commerce from this civilization. ठीक है. Next. On seals of Harappa, seals. On Harappan seals, we have the writings. Besides the writings, we have depiction of various animals on such seals. Which animal mostly depicted on seals of Harappan civilization? Unicorn. Most of the time, unicorn was a mythological animal depicted on Harappan seals. Unicorn, with single horn. This was not the horse, not the rhinoceros. Unicorn was the mythological animal, and most of time depicted on Harappan seals. It had some relevance. This unicorn was connected with their religion, belief system, and their belief system was shamanism. Shamanism was the tribal religion in which we have the shaman, and the shamans are the priests, and these shamans can communicate with the gods. And to communicate with the gods, shaman have lot of companions, friends, and friends of shamans are the mythological animals. So unicorn could be companion of shaman. ठीक है? This is the reason why maximum importance was given to unicorn, maximum times depiction of unicorn on seals of Harappans. ठीक है? Unicorn is clear. Always a right facing animal with single horn, and below the horn 3-tier structure, flame like structure. इसका कुछ रिलेवेंस होगा. ठीक है? Unicorn is clear. Which animal not depicted on seals of Harappa? Which were two animals not depicted on Harappan seals. Never depicted on seals of Harappans. Which are those animals? Two animals. Sorry? Tiger was depicted. Tiger was depicted. Horse was not depicted. No depiction of horse. On Harappan seals, no depiction of horse. So horse was most likely unknown to this civilization. Most likely unknown. But the problem here is we have the place in Gujarat. This place is Surkotada. Surkotada is a place in Gujarat, city in Gujarat. And from this place, horse-like bone have been found. Looks like bone of the horse. So only place is Surkotada. From Surkotada, horse-like bones have been found. The horse present था या नहीं? These bones were not the bones of the horse. These were bones of actually onager, and these onagers are not the true horse. They are wild ass. Because in horse we had minimum 36 ribs, and the remain of Surkotada with less than 36 ribs. It means horse was unknown to the civilization. Not known. ठीक है? So the animal bone found from Surkotada, actually not the bone of the horse. It was the bone of the animal which looks like a horse. That is wild S or onager. ठीक है? So horse was unknown. And this was the reason why transportation system of Harappans was very, very slow. Horse is very fast moving animal. So Harappans used buffaloes and ox for transportation system because horse was absent. It means transportation system of the civilization was very, very slow. And why slow? Because of absence of horse. So one animal is the horse, not on Harappan seals. Other animal not depicted on seals of Harappans, cow. But cow was known to Harappans because bull was known. So how can we have the bull without cow? So no depiction of cow on Harappan seals. It means cow. It doesn't mean that cow was not known to Harappans. It was known to Harappans because bull was known to Harappans, but horse wasn't known. So two animals are absent on Harappan seals: horse and cow. Horse was unknown and cow was known because first evidence of horse in India after the civilization comes from northwest part of India, Perak Valley, brought by Aryans. Before 1600 BC, horse was not known in India. First evidence of horse comes from Perak Valley, northwest part of India. And dating of this remains is about 1600 BC when the Aryans were about to enter India. ठीक है? Clear है? So seals is clear. Urbanization is clear. Urbanization is clear. Now come to a very important aspect, belief of the people of the civilization or religion. Important है. What was the belief of the people of the civilization? Religious belief of the civilization. हाँ, courses. Just come. Just come. देखो the problem here is script is undeciphered. So whatever artifacts we got from the civilization, on that basis we have to form the ideas or belief of the people. ठीक है? तो थोड़ा देखते हैं क्या क्या कहाँ से क्या मिला, क्या बिलीफ होना चाहिए उनका. ठीक है? Number one, temple worship was absent. No temples. No any temples have been found from any of the city. Temple worship was absent. A structure had been found from Mohenjo-daro, and according to some historians, this Mohenjo-daro structure may be a temple. But within this structure, no idols have been found. So without idols, we cannot assume the temple. Temple is always with the idols in Hinduism. So temple was absent, not present. ठीक है? So the temple worship was absent, and temple worship absent till 200 BC. Up to 200 BC in India, no any evidence of temple worship. Temple worship began in India from 200 BC onwards, means after Mauryan period. Up to 200 BC, no any temples have been found. Only from 200 BC onwards, temples have been found in India. Temple is structured with idols of gods, goddesses. ठीक है? For example, oldest temples of India after 200 BC was Sonk temple in Mathura, Atranji Khera temple in UP. So these are the two oldest temples of India, and both temples only after 200 BC. मतलब before 200 BC, temple worship was absent. Clear है? We'll come to temple worship later on. Means during the time, Indus Valley Civilization, people don't go to temples for worship to gods and goddesses. But there was evidence of idol worship. But such idol worship was within the households and not within the public place like temples. Idol worship was present. Idol worship was present gods with idols worshipped, but not into temples, into homes. Into homes they worship. Clear, eh? So now come to which gods and goddesses they worshipped. Which gods and goddesses they worshipped. Very difficult to figure out. One seal have been found, for example. One seal have been found from city of Mohenjo-daro, and this seal sometimes called as Pasupati seal. Called as Pasupati seal. So Pasupati seal was the seal found from city of Mohenjo-daro, called as Pasupati, because belief was Pasu is the animal, Pati is the Lord or God. So which god of Hinduism is the Pasupati god? God Shiva. God Shiva in present Hinduism is called as Pasupati god, because Shiva god is the god of animals, and Shiva animal is bull. Every god in Hinduism has their own conveyance. Bull Shiva. Okay? So suppose this is the seal found from Mohenjo-daro. So this is a deity-like structure with a horn, two horns. Looks like a deity, looks like a god on this seal with two horns. On the one side of this deity, looks like deity, two animals, a rhinoceros and buffalo. One side, two animals, rhinoceros and buffalo, two animals on one side. Other side, other two animals, elephant and tiger. Tiger was known. Because here we have depiction of tiger on this seal. Elephant and tiger. So four animals, two on one side, two other side, and near the feet of this deity, two deer, antelope. So assumption is this was the god of the animals. In Hinduism, we have Shiva as the god of the animals, but here there was no bull. So how can we presume that this was the Shiva god? Very controversial. It could be some sort of proto Shiva and not the actual Shiva god, because no bull is here. Elephant and tiger, rhinoceros and buffalo, and two antelope. ठीक है? कभी कभी भी पूछ लेते हैं कि कौन कौन से एनिमल इसमें था, कौन नहीं था पशुपति सेल में. ठीक है? क्लियर है? नेक्स्ट शिवा god is worshipped mainly in linga form. Shiva linga called a cylindrical stone put into temple, and this stone is placed in the middle of a circular ring. So this is Shiva and Parvati union. ठीक है? Only from Kalibangan this structure have been found. Only Kalibangan. The rest of the city separate cylindrical stone and separate circular ring have been found, which cannot be Shiva Parvati. Cannot be. Only from Kalibangan such a structure have been found. Only Kalibangan. So Shiva god worship. Shiva is the phallus god. Phallus worship. Only evidence comes from Kalibangan. Regarding phallus worship, only evidence comes from Kalibangan. Rest of the area, separate cylindrical stone, separate circular ring have been found. And not in the temple. Even this Kalibangan structure, not in the temple, within the household. Clear? Eh? So the carbon copy of Hinduism is ruled out. It could be precursor of Hinduism, but cannot be the Hinduism present during the time. ठीक है? Most popular worship was nature worship. Nature worship, like worship of the tree, people tree, also the feature of Hinduism. Evidence of people tree, nature worship, again comes from Mohenjo-daro. Mohenjo-daro. On a seal, depiction of a tree. Depiction of a tree. On one of the branches of the tree, a deity is standing. And behind, in front of this tree, 7 persons are standing in the queue. Looks like they are worshipping this tree. So evidence of people tree worship comes from Mohenjo-daro. Depiction on a seal. ठीक है? Clear है? So nature worship. Some other swastik signs has been. Swastika signs, auspicious sign, found from some of the cities. So nature worship. So the worship of some of the deities, not the Shiva deity. If this were deity connected with Shiva, it was the precursor of Shiva deity. Precursor of Shiva god. ठीक है? Plus we talked about presence of shamanism as well. Shamanism. Shaman companion was mythological animal, that is unicorn. So shamanism was present. So belief of the people was diverse belief, not one belief. Even today in India we have diverse belief. Tribal belief, animism, Hindus, Muslims, Sikh, Christians and all. So diversity is here. Not one religion. Clear hai? So this is all about your religion of the civilization. Next. About society, social condition. About society, social condition. This civilization, society of this civilization was whether class based or caste based. Class and caste. It was class based and may not be caste based. The reason is in class based society, we have the richer class and we have the poor class. In caste based society, we have some of the caste, and these castes are birth based caste. Suppose you are a Brahmin, you are born as a Brahmin caste. Till death, you will be Brahmin. You cannot change your caste. So, evidence of caste system in India comes from 1000 BC. First evidence of caste system in India from 1000 BC onwards. And this was in 10th mandal of Rigveda. 10th mandal of Rigveda, which was composed around 1000 BC. Here we have a reference of Varna system. And this Varna system loosely became caste system later on. ठीक है? Means before 1000 BC, there was no any birth-based system, no hereditary system. Society was most likely class-based society. The reason is we have the towns. ठीक है? Town usually had two parts. One part is called as Acropolis or Citadel. Other part was called as non-Citadel. So in Citadel areas we have spacious building, bigger buildings. In non-Citadel we have a small building. So this was the area inhabited by poor people, and this could be the area inhabited by richer people. So on the basis of town planning, we can assume that society was class-based society and not the caste-based society. इसका डिफरेंट एस्पेक्ट्स भी है, वो हिस्ट्री ऑप्शन में पढ़ाते हैं कि वेदर कास्ट सिस्टम वाज प्रेजेंट और नॉट. ठीक है. Some of the historians believe that caste system was present during the time, but that is not the true view. Clear है? So you can go for society was class-based society and may not be caste-based society. So one is clear. Second, in this society, here we have male and here we have female, women, male and female. So this society was patriarchal society or matriarchal society, patrilineal society or matrilineal society. ठीक है. What could be patrilineal या matrilineal? हाँ. No, it cannot be because we have examination of bone of the males and females both. The skeletons have been found. We can differentiate which skeletons are skeletons of male and female. So these male bones are more nutritious and female bones are less nutritious. It means more importance was given to male than the female. So lot of the terracottas, female terracottas, called as mother goddess, do not assume that this society was a matriarchal society. Cannot be. Cannot be. Because as compared to male bones, female bones are less nutritious bone. It means more importance was given to male than the female. ठीक है. So no any question of society being matriarchal society or matrilineal society. No question. ठीक है. Society is clear. Religion is clear. Next is polity. Next is polity. ठीक है. Polity of this Indus Valley Civilization. Only from pre-perspective, not for the mains. This is not history optional class. This is ES class. So polity में पहला होता है state, government. Second was no state. This was stateless society. So there is no question of stateless because we have the rules and regulations. And who makes the rules? The state government. Government. So no question of this polity being a stateless polity. We have the state. Who control the state? We have two views. According to one view, merchants and traders were rulers. According to other view, priests were rulers. Which is more likely? Priests or merchants? This civilization was ruled by merchants और priest. इसीलिए जो स्टोन स्टैचू है priest king बोला गया उसको by A.L. Basam. But this is ruled out because Harappans gave more importance to trade and commerce as compared to religion. So, most likely, this society or this polity was controlled by traders because we have the port, we have diaspora, economic diaspora, Sortagai, which was for trade purpose. So, this civilization was ruled by merchants and traders and may not be by priests. Clear, everyone? So, this is all about the Indus Valley Civilization or Harappan Civilization. Any questions from this civilization? Indus Valley? Any question? Because we completed Indus Valley Civilization or Harappan Civilization. Any question from this civilization? Any doubt? किसी के पास कुछ डाउट नहीं है? नो क्वेश्चन. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट. कुछ डाउट है तो ऑलवेज वेलकम. बोलिए. सॉरी. डिक्लाइन अभी आ रहे हैं. डिक्लाइन पे आ रहे हैं. वी जस्ट कमिंग टू डिक्लाइन. बिफोर डिक्लाइन, फ्रॉम दिस civilization, any of the question, how this civilization declined, we are just coming. डिक्लाइन से पहले कोई क्वेश्चन है किसी के पास? एनी डाउट, एनी क्वेश्चन? From 1900 BC onwards, from 1900 BCE onwards, this was the area where people were living into cities, towns, doing international trade. ठीक है? Trade with Central Asia, trade with Afghanistan, trade with Persia, Iran, Helmand, trade with Oman, Bahrain, and Mesopotamia. No trade with. देखो इस समय during the time in India we have Bronze Age civilization called Indus Valley Civilization. During the time we have two other Bronze Age civilization, three other Bronze Age civilization. One in Mesopotamia, one in Egypt, other in China. So four Bronze Age civilizations, almost all contemporary. Four Bronze Age civilizations. In India we have Indus Valley Civilization. Iraq we have Mesopotamia Civilization. In Egypt we have Nile Valley Civilization. In China we have Huanghe Civilization. In China, Huanghe is the river in China. We have four Bronze Age civilizations of the world. India, Indus Valley Civilization. Iraq, Mesopotamia Civilization. Egypt, Nile Valley Civilization. Nile River. And in China, Huanghe River. So India had contact only with Mesopotamia. No contact with Egypt. No contact with China. And this contact was for trade purpose. Export imports. ठीक है? Clear है? India also had contact with Central Asia. And because of this contact, for the first time in India, during the time we are coming of a new animal in India. And this animal is double-humped camel. So first evidence of double-humped camel during the time, and this came from Central Asia. Central Asia, Afghanistan. एक place है अफगानिस्तान में. This place is Bactria. So this camel is called as Bactrian camel. On these camels we have double hump, two hump. जो इंडिया में कैमल होता है, राजस्थान में that is single hump. उसको बोलते हैं ड्रोमेट्री. तो ड्रोमेट्री was already present. But for the first time we have double humped camels which came to India during the time because of trading contact with Central Asia. ठीक है, क्लियर है? डबल हम्प्ड कैमल्स, दो चीज नया आता है इंडिया में इस समय, एंड बोथ केम बिकॉज ऑफ कॉन्टैक्ट विथ सेंट्रल एशिया. डबल हम्प्ड कैमल and eagle both came to India. First reference of eagle during the time Indus Valley Civilization. ठीक है, so trading contact is clear. Up to 1900 BC, the Indians or Meluhans, Meluha बोलते थे, Indians or Meluhans were doing international trade with these countries, not with Egypt, not with China. But from 1900 BCE onwards, from 1900 BCE onwards, in Mesopotamia literature, no reference of trading contact with Meluha. Means trade stopped. From 1900 BC onwards, Mesopotamian text stopped talking of trade with Meluha. Trade stopped. Number two, next, people who were living into this area, into city, now started deserting these areas, leaving these areas, and they now started migrating to new areas. New area, for example, was one of the areas where maximum migration happened was Uttar Pradesh and north part of Madhya Pradesh. So southeast migration from town to village. People settled down in these areas. UP, North Madhya Pradesh. They settled down in village here, and they were using a different type of pottery here. On the basis of this pottery, this culture is called as OCP culture. 1900 to 1500 BC, this is decline of the civilization. And this decline phase is sometimes called as late Indus Valley Civilization. ठीक है? So from 1900 BC onwards, people started, why migration will just come. What was the basic reason of decline? We are talking about decline of the civilization. Decline का मतलब होता है desertion of the area, and this desertion was, this migration was not abrupt migration. ऐसा नहीं हुआ एक ही दिन में खत्म हो गया. It took years, it took centuries to leave this area to settle down in new areas. So this decline was not abrupt decline. This decline was not sudden. This decline was gradual decline and not the sudden. ठीक है? So why is gradual decline? What were the basic reasons of decline? We will just come. ठीक है? So number one, a new culture arose after Indus Valley Civilization. This culture is called OCP. OCP का मतलब होता है ochre colored pottery. Ochre is the color, light yellow color or light red color. So people here were using a type of the potteries on the basis of color of this pottery. This culture is called as OCP culture, ochre colored pottery culture. ठीक है? They stopped import of tin as well. So here they now restarted use of copper. So this culture sometimes also called as copper hoard culture, because large number of copper objects have been found from these areas. Why copper? Why not bronze? Because to make the bronze objects, we need to have the tin. India is scarce in tin mining. So Harappans were importing tin. Import of tin was from Afghanistan and Oman. That has stopped. So they now started reusing copper objects. And such copper objects have been found in huge quantity in the form of hoards. Like इस area पे एक जगह है Gangeria. So one of the sites of OCP culture is Gangeria in Madhya Pradesh. And from this Gangeria, Archaeological Survey of India have found plenty of copper objects. So this OCP culture, sometimes also called as copper hoard culture. ठीक है? Type of pottery, OCP, ochre colored pottery. So one of the cultures was OCP culture. Second culture, in North Maharashtra, interior areas of Gujarat, migration happened. And in these areas, people using a different type of pottery, that is lustrous red ware, LRW culture, also copperwood culture. So two cultures are important. lustrous का मतलब होता है very glossy, very shining, red color का pottery, red ware. So LRW pottery, type of the pottery in North Maharashtra, interior South Gujarat. So migration in these areas also, but more migration was in these areas. OCP culture, more migration because number of village here is more as compared to number of village in these areas. ठीक है? So decline is clear. Now come to why people started migrating from the area to new areas. Regions of decline. Multiple reasons. एक reason नहीं है. Many factors were responsible for desertion of the area by the people who lived into cities and towns. Many factors. In some of the areas, जैसे इंडस का एरिया है, इंडस का जो बेड है वो एलिवेटेड प्लेस से बेड है इंडस का बेड. तो अगर इस इंडस में ज्यादा रिवर फ्लो हो जाएगा तो ओवर फ्लडिंग हो जाएगा नेबरिंग एरिया, बिकॉज बेड ऑफ इंडस रिवर इज एलिवेटेड बेड. इंडस का बेड बहुत एलिवेटेड होता है अभी भी. इंडस रिवर एलिवेटेड बेड, रिवर बेड जो होता है ऊंचा है. अगर किसी कारण से ज्यादा वाटर फ्लो हो जाएगा तो ब्रिज कर देगा, तो पास वाला एरिया सारा इनंडेटेड हो जाएगा, फ्लडेड हो जाएगा. एविडेंस ऑफ फ्लडिंग कम्स फ्रॉम मोहनजोदड़ो. ठीक है? सो वन ऑफ द रीजंस वाज ह्यूज फ्लड in lower Indus area. Flood could be one of the reasons. Earthquake could be other reasons. Earthquake, other reasons. This is seismic zone. जो लोअर इंडस का एरिया है, अर्थक्वेक बहुत आता है वहां. सिस्मिक जोन है ये. तो अगर अर्थक्वेक आ गया तो वाटर का फ्लो ऑब्स्ट्रक्ट हो जाएगा, तो ऑब्स्ट्रक्ट हो जाएगा तो पूरा फ्लडिंग हो जाएगा. एंड हड़प्पन्स लिस्ट डेवलप्ड इनटू हाउ टू कंट्रोल द फ्लड्स. नहीं मालूम था इनको फ्लड कंट्रोल. सो वन ऑफ द रीजन्स कुड बी दिस रीजन. दूसरा रीजन क्या होगा? पंजाब एरिया है या राजस्थान एरिया है, वहां एरिड कंडीशन से स्टार्टेड. Desertification, the scarcity of the water, because some of the rivers dried up. एक river था हाकरा, हाकरा dried up. We have evidence of drying of river हाकरा in Punjab. तो river ही खत्म हो गया. This river dried up river. Some of the river changes the course of the flow. तो उस एरिया में वाटर कमी हो गया. So people moved to new areas. So in some area aridity, arid condition. In some area excess flood. In some areas ecological imbalance, overgrazing हो गया. ठीक है? So multiple reasons. One of the reasons which is incorrect is Aryan invasion theory. Highly controversial. One of the theories given by historian, archaeologist Wheeler. Mortimer Wheeler. According to Wheeler, Aryans were a group of the people who attacked on India, and because of this attack, the civilization vanished. So this theory is called as Aryan invasion theory, given by Mortimer Wheeler, which is not correct, incorrect now. The simple reason is Aryans coming to India not before 1500 BC. Aryans started coming to India from 1500 BC onwards, and this civilization declined before 1500 BC. Decline of civilization was from 1900 BC. Once the Aryan came to India, the civilization already declined. So how these Aryans attacked on this civilization and declined the civilization? Not correct. Because of time gap. Coming of Aryans into India not before 1500 BC, and decline of the civilization was from 1900 BC, 4 centuries earlier. So no question of meeting of Aryans with these people. So this is now rejected theory. Okay? So Wheeler's theory is not correct. Rejected. Clear? Hai? So this is all about your Indus Valley Civilization. Decline of the civilization. Multiple factors for decline. हो जाएगा? This is all clear. Indus Valley, oldest civilization of India, with important features. एक क्वेश्चन होना चाहिए इससे जैसे. At least one question we can expect in the exam from Indus Valley Civilization. होगा. ठीक है? हो जाएगा सारा क्वेश्चन. कुछ भी होगा हो जाएगा. आप लोग सॉल्व करना. टेस्ट पेपर सॉल्व करना. हो जाएगा. जितना भी क्लास में डिस्कस किया हम लोगों ने, टेस्ट सॉल्व करना हो जाएगा. इससे ज्यादा नहीं करना है. You're not here to do history optional paper here. History GS पेपर है. So now we can move forward. इससे आगे बढ़े. ठीक है? When this civilization was already declined from 1500 BC onwards, we have the coming of Aryans in India, and Aryans were the makers of a culture called Vedic culture in India. In 1500 BC to 600 BC, Vedic culture of India. And makers of this Vedic culture were a group of the people, and these peoples are called as Aryans. So firstly, who were these Aryans? Who were these Aryans? And how they came to India? ठीक है? So firstly come to briefly about a background of the group of the people called Aryans. ठीक है? There are many theories regarding Aryans. What was the original homeland of Aryans? We have many theories. Most accepted theory it's not working. Okay. We have theory regarding original homeland of the Aryans. Most accepted theory given by a German historian who spent most of time in London, Max Muller. Who is from Germany. He spent most of time in London, Britain, who never came to India. But he wrote most authoritative account of India. Who never came to India, Max Muller. And according to Max Muller, original homeland of Aryans was Central Asia. According to Max Muller, Aryans' original homeland was steppe land, Transoxiana, or Central Asia. So this is Central Asia, original homeland of Aryans, according to Max Muller. Okay? So these Aryans were a group of the people originally living in Central Asia, speaking the language archaic Sanskrit, primitive Sanskrit, not classical Sanskrit. So when we speak of Aryans, Aryans were a group of the people, linguistic group of the people who spoke the language, very primitive, rudimentary Sanskrit. Linguistic group of the people. Language they spoke was very crude Sanskrit, not refined Sanskrit, not classical Sanskrit. And they were actually pastoral. Rearing of animals was their main occupation. Which animal they reared there? Horse and rams. Rams in Central Asia, mountainous goats or rams in Central Asia, and they use the horse for transportation purpose. Okay? Around 2000 BC, these Aryans from Central Asia started migrating to different parts of the world. Migration started. Why migration started from these areas? Because of many reasons. There could be a scarcity of the fodder in these areas. So in search of the fodder, they moved to new areas. Family became large family. So new family moved to new areas. So multiple. Climate became very cold in these areas. So they moved to new areas to save themselves from harsh winter. So multiple cause could be there. Okay? So we have the evidence of migration of Aryans from Central Asia to different parts of the world. One branch moved to Europe. They settled down in Europe. In Europe, they settled down. And in Europe, they were called as Hittites. So the Hittites were Aryans who had settled down in Germany and Poland. Okay? Other branch came to Mesopotamia, Turkey area, West Asia. There they settled down, and there they are called as Kassites. Other branch came to Iran. There they settled down. Here they were called as Avestans because they composed the book Jend-Avesta, oldest book of Iran, composed by these Aryans. And a branch of these Avestans now started moving eastward and they entered India, and their coming to India is from about 1500 BC onwards. It means original homeland of Aryans was Central Asia. Okay? Most accepted theory, Max Muller theory, homeland was Central Asia, and we can prove it. Okay, language is spoken by this and Rigved in India, which compared by some historians, and all are very very similar. This linguistic group is called as Indo-European linguistic group. Sanskrit belongs to Indo-European linguistic family. जो भाषा लोग बोलते थे ये लोग साइट्स वही भाषा ऋग्वेद का. So Sanskrit was very very close to language of Hittites, language of Kassites, and same god worshipped by this group of the people. Same gene in North India with genes of Central Asia. जीन का भी सिमिलरिटीज है, सेम जीन है, और यहाँ जीन ज्यादा है, यहाँ जीन कम है. तो माइग्रेशन कहाँ से ज्यादा से कम की ओर होता है, माइग्रेशन, and not vice versa. So we have genetic similarities between Central Asian people and North Indian people. It means Aryans' homeland was Central Asia. ठीक है? You have different theories as well. Like, according to Tilak, homeland was Arctic region, and not Central Asia. According to Dayanand Saraswati, homeland of Aryans was Tibet and not Central Asia. The different theory. According to some, India was the homeland. But these all are rejected theory. All. According to Tilak, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, homeland of Aryans was Arctic region. According to Dayanand Saraswati, homeland was Tibet, not Central Asia. According to some, India was the homeland, which all are not true. Correct theory is Max Muller theory. So background of Aryans is clear. ठीक है? Background is clear about Aryans. Yes. Doubt है? Any doubt? ठीक है? So background of Aryans is clear. Next. We're not going into details. यहाँ कोई एडिक्ट मिला है, उसको बोलते हैं बोगज कोई एडिक्ट. बोगज कोई. This is God का रेफरेंस है बोगज कोई में. Same God referred in ऋग्वेद. Same God in ऋग्वेद. जिस गॉड का रेफरेंस यहाँ विस्टम्स का, उसी के जैसा गॉड ऋग्वेद में भी है. लैंग्वेज सेम है, जीन सेम है, मतलब यहीं से माइग्रेशन हुआ. और यहाँ जीन का फ्रीक्वेंसी ज्यादा है, इंडिया में जीन का फ्रीक्वेंसी कम है. तो माइग्रेशन जो होता है वो ज्यादा से कम क्यों होता है, कम से ज्यादा क्यों नहीं होता है. कैनॉट बी. ठीक है. आर्यंस क्लियर. Once these Aryans came to India, in India these Aryans composed 4 Vedas, and that is the reason why this is called as Vedic culture. Vedas, oldest deciphered book of India is Vedas. ठीक है. So composed the Vedas, Aryans. In which language? Sanskrit. But these Aryans did not have writing, no script. So all the Vedas were oral books, orally composed, orally memorized, and passed on from generation to generation without writing. Oral kitab tha Vedas. Why oral? Because Aryans had the language but did not have the script. How they can write? So all the Vedas were oral Vedas, orally composed, orally memorized. In the absence of a script, all Vedas passed on from generation to generation without writing. And when later on a script appeared, Vedas were written down. So presently Vedas are in written form. Language is Sanskrit, script is Devanagari. ठीक है. So this Vedic culture we can divide into 2 parts. Early part of the Vedic culture called early Vedic culture. First half of Vedic culture is called as early Vedic culture from 1500 BC to 1000 BC. First half of Vedic culture is early Vedic culture, and second half is called as later Vedic culture. From 1000 BC to 600 BC, that is our later Vedic period. और दोनों को मिला देंगे तो वैदिक पीरियड हो जाएगा. So if we combine later Vedic, early Vedic, both became Vedic culture. ठीक है. So all the 4 Vedas were composed between this period. During early phase, only one Veda was composed. Rest 3 Vedas were composed during later Vedic period. During early phase, oldest Vedas was composed, and oldest Vedas is Rig Veda. This is the reason why early Vedic period, also called as Rigvedic period. Why? Because during entire this time, only one Veda was complete, oldest Veda, Rigved. ठीक है? So this is river Indus. Once the Aryans entered into India, the Aryans settled down in upper Pakistan, not lower Pakistan. Some parts of South Afghanistan, Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, these areas. And these areas in Rigved is called as Sapta Sindhava area, land of 7 rivers. Which are 7 rivers mentioned in Rigveda? Sapta Sindhava land, land of 7 rivers. And this land was upper Pakistan, southern part of Afghanistan, Rajasthan, Haryana, Punjab. So these area Aryans settled down in India. So Aryans came as a migrant, as a foreigner, but they became Indians. They settled down in India. India became their own land. So India was not the colony of the Aryans. Aryans came as a foreigner, but in course of time they ceased to be foreigners. They became Indians. So which are 7 rivers referred in Rigveda? One is the Indus. Indus is called as Sindhu. Indus is called as Sindhu. 5 tributaries of Indus. 5 tributaries of Indus. ठीक है? 5 tributaries, for example, Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Beas, Satluj. And all these 5 rivers are called in Rigveda by different names. Like, इस बार क्वेश्चन था APPSC IAS के एग्जाम में, रिवर रावी. Ravi river was called as river Parusni in Rigveda. Yavyavati, Ravi का ही नाम. Bipas, Vyas, Sutudri, Satluj. So these all were the names of the tributaries of river Indus. 5 tributaries. ठीक है? Ravi was called as both Parusni, Yavyavati. Bipas, Vyas, Sutudri, Satluj. झेलम का भी नाम है कुछ, सिकनी, पता नहीं क्या क्या नाम है. 5 rivers. तो 5 + 1 is 6. One river is Saraswati river. So river Saraswati also mentioned into Rigveda. So this was the land of 7 rivers. Indus plus 5 plus Saraswati, 7 rivers. So entire Rigveda was composed in this land. ठीक है? Around 1000 BC, Aryans started moving to southeast direction. They moved to Uttar Pradesh and North Bihar areas, and they settled down in these areas. And there they composed 3 other Vedas. So this was the area of UP, North Bihar. This area is called as Aryavart. So Aryavart was the land of North Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, where Aryans had composed 3 other Vedas. So total Vedas are 4. First, during early Vedic period, in Sapt Sindhava area. 3, during later Vedic period, in Aryavarti area. And this Aryavarti area is the Uttar Pradesh and North Bihar areas. So briefly about Vedic literatures, Vedas and all. ठीक है? Clear है? So why they moved to this area? कुछ reason होगा. but we are not going into such regions. Why Aryans moved from सप्त सिंधवा to आर्यभट्ट? कुछ तो रीजन होगा, ठीक है, पर उतना नहीं, इसी में रह जाएंगे हम, बिकॉज वी हैव टू कवर एंटायर हिस्ट्री अप टू इंडिपेंडेंस, ठीक है. सो नाउ कम टू फोर वेदास. ओल्डेस्ट वेदा ऋग वेदा. Oldest is Rig Veda. Rig Veda in Sanskrit language, oral book, no writing, no script. ठीक है. Entire Rig Veda is the collection of hymns, mantra. How many hymns in Rig Veda? How many hymns in Rig Veda? Total number of hymns 1028. Total number of hymns in Rig Veda. And these hymns are dedicated to gods and goddesses. We'll come to their gods and goddesses. Firstly, we are discussing the Vedic texts. So, in Rig Veda, total hymns 1028, and all the hymns are in verse form, poetry form, not in prose form. So, entire Rig Veda in verse form. ठीक है. How many chapters of this oral book? Mandal called as 1 to 10. So, total 10 mandals. Mandals are the chapters of Rig Veda. Total mandals 10, 1 to 10. Most recent is 10th mandal. ठीक है. So Rig Veda basically religious book, contains the hymns to gods goddess, and they worship god goddess through prayer. And these are the prayers. Hymns are the prayers. It's the most important hymn in Rig Veda is Gayatri Mantra. And this Gayatri Mantra is dedicated to solar god. सबसे sacred mantra है. अब ये पढ़ते हैं. So Gayatri Mantra in Rig Veda. And this Gayatri Mantra dedicated to solar god, one of the gods worshipped by Aryans. ठीक है. Some hymns for Indra god, Varun god, Agni god. We'll come to gods goddesses. Rig Veda is clear. After Rig Veda, during later Vedic phase, three other Vedas were composed. We are calling it composed, not written down. No writing. Composition is clear. Say, suppose for example, you have the mantra, Gayatri mantra. ओम भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्. संस्कृत में है, तो याद कर गया, तो याद करके चलते गया, और जब स्क्रिप्ट आ गया तो लिख दिया इसको. So in this way, the entire Veda continued in oral form, without writings. ठीक है. याद कर लेंगे ना मंत्र को, गाना को याद कर लेते हैं, सॉन्ग के फॉर्म में याद कर लेते. लेटर वैदिक फेज में आफ्टर ऋग वेदा वी हैव सामवेदा. सामवेदा we have four Vedas. Oldest Rig Veda, then Samaveda. Samaveda also collection of hymns. How many hymns in Samaveda? 1875 hymns. And most of the hymns are copy of Rig Veda with lot of repetitions. Why repetitions? Because hymns of Rig Veda into musical form. Music form में बना दिया इसको. Why music form? Because musical form easy to memorize. इसलिए sometimes oldest book of music is Samaveda. Oldest book of music is Samaveda. Sama का मतलब ही होता है म्यूजिक. ठीक है. Entire Samaveda in verse form. ये भी verse form में. Then we have Yajurveda. Yajurveda. Out of four Vedas, the only Veda Yajurveda which is partly in prose form, not completely in verse form, partly in prose. Out of four Vedas, only Veda is the Yajurveda, which is partly in prose form, passage form, not in verse form. Okay? In this Yajurveda, we have reference of various rituals and sacrifices, sacrifice of the animals, yagya for gods, goddesses. So Yajurveda is the book of rituals and book of sacrifices. Large number of animals were slaughtered for worship purpose. And this slaughtering was during performance of yagya. Yagya is ritual. Yagya, lighting of the fire, putting of the grain into fire, milk into fire. This was their mode of worship. यजुर्वेदा is clear. ठीक है. Last is अथर्व वेदा. Most recent अथर्व वेदा, oldest Rig Veda. अथर्व वेदा also collection of hymns, 730 total hymns, and all the hymns are in verse form. So three Vedas in verse form, one Veda partly in prose form, Yajurveda. Atharva Veda, how many mandals? 20 mandals, 1 to 20. 20 chapters or 20 mandals in Atharva Veda. So total number of the mandals in Atharva Veda is 20. Rig Veda 10, Atharva Veda 20. Suppose when Aryans came to India, Indians living in India who spoke language other than Sanskrit, here we have the people. Aryans were newcomers. So your interaction between newcomers and Indians here. So because of such interaction, Aryans picked up some of the cultural traits of non-Aryans. And non-Aryans also picked up some of the cultural traits of Aryans. So this is cultural interaction, sir. And because of this interaction, Aryans now picked up some of the customs of non-Aryans, which explains why such customs is mentioned only in Atharva Veda and not in the Rig Veda. Two important things. Number one, black magic. First reference in Atharva Veda. Black magic. It must be custom of non-Aryans. And from non-Aryans, Aryans may have picked up this custom. Black magic. Like spells and charms to ward off the evil spirits. मंत्र का कुछ गा देंगे, जैसे भूत आ गया कोई, बिलीव इन द घोस्ट, जैसे भूत आ गया कोई और एविल स्पिरिट आ गया, हार्म कर सकता है, तो एमुलेट पहन लिया या कुछ मंत्र का जाप कर दिया, उसको बोलते हैं स्पेल्स एंड चार्म्स. So spells and charms into Atharva Veda. It means they believe into black magic. So no black magic in Rig Veda. Black magic only into Atharva Veda. When Aryans now stabilized into India, interaction between Indians and Aryans started on a greater way. ठीक है? Black magic is clear. Similarly, plants and herbs to cure the disease, reference in Atharva Veda. And this became later on Ayurveda. So origin of Ayurveda, Atharva Veda. Use of some plants, use of some herbs to cure some disease. ठीक है? कुछ डिजीज का भी रेफरेंस है इस वेद में, लाइक ड्रॉपसी. आर्यंस वे वेरी अफ्रेड ऑफ ड्रॉपसी, डिजीज होता है, ठीक है? तो ड्रॉपसी को क्योर करना है, तो वी कैन यूज प्लांट एंड हर्ब्स. रेफरेंस है, ठीक है, which became Ayurveda later on. So we have the 4 Vedas, 3 composed during later Vedic phase and 1 during early Vedic phase. So 4 Vedas is clear. 4 Vedas. So here we have early Vedic period. EBP लिख रहे हैं हम. Early Vedic period, also called as Rig Vedic period, and later Vedic period, where 3 Vedas were composed. During that time, we have only 1 Veda composed, Rig Veda. ठीक है. After composition of Vedas, on Vedas we have comments, commentaries in book form, and this book is called as Brahmanas. So Brahmanas are the books in Sanskrit, and most of the Brahmanas in prose form. And these Brahmanas are comments on the Vedas, commentary on the Vedas, elaboration of the Vedas. So we have many Brahmanas. Some comments on Rig Veda, some comments on Yajur Veda, some comments on Atharva Veda. Out of all the Brahmanas, most important Brahmana is Satpat Brahmana. Very important. Satpat Brahmana comment on Yajur Veda. Out of all the Brahmanas, most important Brahmana is Satpat Brahmana. बहुत इंफॉर्मेशन है इसमें. हाउ आर्यंस नाउ मूव्ड टू नॉर्थ बिहार एरिया बताया है इसमें. आर्यंस माइग्रेशन टू नॉर्थ बिहार इसी में. ब्राह्मणाज इसके लिए ब्राह्मणाज just 2 minutes only. 2 minutes. Brahmanas. After Brahmanas, a book was composed by Aryans for forest goddess. And this forest goddess worshipped by Aryans was Aranyaki goddess. So the book itself is called as Aranyak. Aranyak is the forest book. Why called forest book? Because entire book is dedicated to a forest goddess. And this goddess was Aranyaki. Aranyak became. So this book is sometimes called as forest book, because the entire book is dedicated to a forest goddess worshipped by the Aryans, and this forest goddess was Aranyaki. ठीक है. So all the books were oral books, orally composed in primitive Sanskrit. ठीक है. After Aranyak, other very important book composed by the Aryans from later Vedic phase onwards, and this book is called as Upanishad. Upanishads are the books orally composed by the Aryans from later Vedic phase onwards, means from 1000 BC onwards, and some of the Upanishads were composed after 600 BC. So such Upanishads are called as later Upanishads, and those Upanishads which were composed during this phase were called as early Upanishads. So we have many Upanishads. How many Upanishads we have? Total number of Upanishads. Vedas 4, Upanishad 108 total. Total 108 Upanishads. Some of the Upanishads are early Upanishads, which were composed during later Vedic age. And some Upanishads were composed after end of later Vedic age, after 600 BC. So we have total 108 Upanishads. And these books are mainly about philosophy, belief in the Atma, relation of Atma with the God, doctrine of karma. In this birth, we have the soul, Atma. So Upanishads believe into soul, and soul is immortal soul, which cannot be destroyed. Soul is always immortal. Soul cannot die. Body can die. Soul cannot die. ठीक है? So in this birth, whatever deed you perform, karma, you perform, that is the basis of your rebirth. So in Upanishad, we have belief of rebirth, and rebirth basis in your karma, deed. Better deed, good rebirth. Very bad karma, very bad rebirth. Suppose in this life, you are the human being, and you are doing very bad deeds, killing large number of people. So in the next birth, you become the animal. You may become the dog. And suppose in this birth, someone is dog and doing very good deeds, not barking, not biting. So in the rebirth, he may become the human being. ठीक है? So this is the belief into rebirth. Basis is the karma, did. Karma is the basis of rebirth. तो बहुत अच्छा है, अच्छा कर्म करो, अच्छा rebirth होगा. Good teaching. Upanishad. The Upanishads are actually philosophical book. Belief into Atma, belief into rebirth, belief into deed or karma. ठीक है? Clear है? So this is all about your literatures. So up to here. Tomorrow we'll continue. कि इस उपनिषद में कौन कौन इंपॉर्टेंट है. Then we have epics as well. रामायण, महाभारत, उपनिषद as well. Epics as well. Tomorrow. Up to here कोई डाउट है तो देख लीजिए. Any doubt? Any questions? जितना पढ़ा अभी तक बस उसी में से कोई डाउट. So tomorrow we'll continue. Vedic Age. ठीक है. Thank you. Thanks.